Welcome, Fan Play fans. We're telling the story, The Plight of the Play-Based Parents. We're a group of earnest adults who design educational play and projects. We work hard, have a good time, but we've set the standard rather high for our students. We have the growth of the whole child in mind. Each parent can define this for themselves until the kid's about age 12. Then the adolescent starts to define it as well. So we look at whole family dynamics, the social transactions over time that encourage learning. Where does the learning occur, and what social transactions promote this learning? Learning with the whole world in mind. So we take the individual child who develops into society. But this takes time. How much time? Who knows? Who knows how much time? That's the tough part about it. We're focused here on teachable moments. And with this Dad's Initiative, we've been talking about how fathers need to be there at the crucial time when it's needed. We have no idea when that's going to be, so we don't know how much time. Nobody likes to hear this. So let's just say 2 hours. So a learning project can take 2 hours. So I always think, but 2 weeks, maybe 2 months. But let's look at how a learning project with your family can take about 2 hours to change a doorknob. We're going to start to appreciate inexperience and the slow bureaucracies of family life. What happens in our family dynamics when we try to change a doorknob? Well, 3 little boys are intrigued, but not necessarily wanting to do work. So they'll watch and see what happens, and when they see the screwdriver, they want to use it. And then once it comes apart, they're excited to play with the little mechanisms inside and that kind of stuff. They're frustrated when it takes time to unscrew a certain part, or again, they can do many of these, especially an 8-year-old and above can do many of these tasks on their own with supervision of the parent. But why does this take 2 hours? Not because I drone on in digressions and circles in a story, but as we try to change a doorknob, something comes up. It takes us 10-15 minutes to take a certain screw out, or a latch or a lever needs to be pushed. And again, we're doing it. One child is engaged, while 2 other children are wrestling and, got themselves in the headlock and kicking. So the family project, there's lots of learning. I figured, hey, we'll learn about, a lock and a doorknob, and develop some skills, some hand-eye coordination, changing the screws, feel productive. This is definitely a project that matters in the world. We need to use that door, and the children can participate and learn from our activity, our 2-hour family activity of changing this doorknob. Now, I'm imagining many of you thought you could change a doorknob in 20 minutes. Yeah, that's just not the case. So we appreciate the inexperience of children, and ourselves for that matter. I mean, sure, maybe I've never changed a doorknob. That's the problem. So it takes even longer. But we appreciate this inexperience, especially when we're encouraging learning that matters in the real world. And we begin to appreciate more the slow bureaucracies. I mean, sure, we could have called someone and paid 10 times the amount for them to come out, change the doorknob, but that would have been more than 2 hours, right? 2 days. Or 2 weeks. So one of the lessons here is, look, let something that happens in 2 hours spread over the 2 weeks. So something new that happens in play. So the reality of this doorknob is it took us 2 weeks to change, because 2 weeks ago we put in a different one that didn't quite work out. A lot of door slamming for the last 2 weeks. But and let's say this is a type of play. Door slams is a type of new play we tried out for 2 weeks. We don't like. But so when we talk about a family activity, there's more than just the 2 hours to take it to change a doorknob. Again, but the project matters in the real world. And in all honesty, it's about 2 months, right? I mean, how long ago did that doorknob actually start to break, and we play with it and notice everything else? And then again, I'm not pretending that we changed the doorknob yesterday and tomorrow it's fully fixed. I mean, it's working beautifully right now. But who knows what's going to happen if it rains or drops in temperature 20 degrees. But so far, so good. And again, the 2 hours of a family activity become so much more involved, integrated, and the difference between the interactions of a 2-hour project to change a doorknob and the transactions, the social transactions that happen over the 2 months. And these social transactions of breaking the doorknob and watching it, trying to fix it a few times, slamming the door, breaking it fully, having to pick the lock, getting stuck in, going to the hardware store, trying to fix it, going back to the hardware store, the transaction after transaction, the person, the neighbor who comes over, the uncle that comes over and can't get in the door, leads up. These social transactions over time encourage the learning because in this case especially, it matters in the real world. The doorknob matters. We need to go in and out of that door every day. The kids see that it matters. So it's a project rather than just play. But and I wish there was more play involved in that 2-hour project. But it took us 2 hours to change a doorknob. And in reality, the transactions that encouraged the learning over the time took 2 months. I hope I don't say 2 years.